as we go into the quiet. Or Andy says, just a second, I'm not done with you yet today. So we breathe. We relax in. In that laughter, what a wonderful gift, just that burst of laughter as we prepare to move deeper. That's a gift. And we breathe through. Whether it's quiet, whether it's loud, whether it's sound moving into silence, whatever it is. All of it, every single bit of it belongs. All of it, every single bit of it is part of our life journey and experience and growth. From the fine mist in the fountain that lets us see rainbows hovering, to the geysers that spring up and the blasts of unexpected music. We can love it all because it all belongs. When we live forward from that place, knowing that whatever it is that's in front of us in that moment is an opportunity for love, an opportunity to move to peace, an opportunity to embrace the unexpected. How fantastic that unexpected can be. Sometimes how traumatic that unexpected can be. And sometimes what an invitation to move deeper within that unexpected can be. Most especially when we know that it's all God. It's all a part of Godness, and whether we're in skin or we've broken free from it, we can still play in it and have joy. And we can still feel those who are here with us in skin and those who are here with us in a more expanded way. We let that spirit flow freely. And we take a moment to feel embraced by it. Yes, we're a part of it, and those individuations of spirit that we love so much in this life. We take a moment to let those unexpected moments remind us of all the joy, of all the support, of all the love that we've ever had in as many guises as it has shown up in. With gratitude for the unexpected. We just take a moment in this meditation to drift back to a memory of an unexpected blessing. Something we didn't see coming that grew us. And we feel into our body that joy of an unexpected gift. Just let it rise, a surprise that just moved you to absolute glee. Feel it right now in your skin. Remember it. Allow it to bring a smile to your face. Joy. Just let it roll through you. Feel that blessed bliss that comes with a reminder that we are blessed, that God is flowing through and as us, and that every day brings the gift of a way to be new. Every day offers us a way to shift our mindset, to move our mentality. As we just allow that joy to settle in, we also expand it out. Let's just blow some joy around this room. Blast it. Allow something that brought you joy to roll through you and outward. Feel it touching the person next to you, behind you, in front of you, anyone around you. Feel it seeping into the fabric of the chairs, in the paint in the walls, in the vibration of molecules in the air. Joy. Life. And our power to be the presence of God within it. And as we take a moment to move into the silence, just keep blasting out joy and life and love. And then with another breath, we just let it land. Wherever it reached. But we keep the smile. We keep that reminder of joy in our lives, across time, across space, through the good, bad, and the ugly. Joy can always greet us and meet us and change us there, if we let it. And so it is. Amen. Amen. Music has always been my self-therapy. It's been my self-soother. It's been my way of dealing with things. If I'm especially blue or feeling something I can't figure out how to contain in my skin, if it's too big, and if I'm yelling, "Mayday, Mayday, Mayday," music. And whenever that song comes on, or whenever I've heard it, in the last, 40 some odd years, I have this vision that happens inside of me of sitting on my bedroom floor. And I'm sorry if I share so much. No, I'm not sorry. Let me back that up. I share so much about me because these are the only eyes I can see through. I can't see through your eyes. I can't feel through your feelings. And I know what things bring up in me, and my hope in sharing what I share when it's something that I feel so viscerally about is so that you'll go, "Oh gosh, I remember feeling like that." And the only way that I can do that is to share things that tug at something in me, or that hurt something in me, or that heal something in me, so that I can help, or hope to help, and to put that outside of me in a way so that it can touch somebody else. And when we're talking about moving from Mayday to Mayday, that Maypole festival where we're happy and running, we need to be able to reach into our own history and in our own life and to feel a time when we did that. When we moved from "my world is on fire and I don't know what I'm doing" to calm, and eventually to celebration. And I grew up in an alcoholic household. I don't talk about it too much here because my mom comes to this church. So you're not going to hear a lot about that piece. It's not, parts of it are not mine to tell. And this part is. My house was often very chaotic. I knew after 4 p.m. to make myself scarce. And there was fear in my house that led to a lot of fear in me. And music has always been my solace. And when I was little, my parents bought me a little record player. And I had so many records. I was so excited to get any new record, any new music. And I would sit in my bedroom when yelling started to happen or when the house was so chaotic that I didn't feel safe. And I would sit cross-legged on my floor in my room and I would play my favorite records. And Melissa Manchester's album was one of those. And when she sang "Coming from the Rain," it moved something in me at 7 years old, sitting cross-legged on the floor, and I thought, there is a space in this world where I can always feel safe. No matter what's happening out there, there is a space in me where I can always feel safe. And that song, still, right just then, you saw me at 7, sitting on my bedroom floor, feeling safe, when what was out here didn't feel very safe. We're all still those, wow, this is so not what I expected to talk about today. Here we go again, hold on, I don't know where this is going. What we do with what life does with us is everything. Not just for ourselves, though, for everyone that we ever come in contact with. What we do with what life does to us is imperative to what we can create in this world. We're a bunch of light workers sitting here. We're a bunch of people who can know that the light of the world begins in here, because that Christ light, if that's what you want to call it, or your chi, or the energy flow of universal life, or the beginning of Godness, or whatever you want to call it, it begins in here. So when the world is going crazy out there, you have a space to go inside and say, I know what safety feels like in the midst of whatever's happening out there. And that song for 7-year-old Trish was instrumental in being able to get back up off the floor, put my hand on the doorknob, and go back out into the kitchen and have dinner with my parents. And to some people, that was the height of your day. To some people, it was the worst part. To me, it was somewhere in the middle. Because it was so unpredictable that you never knew what it was going to be when you sat down to dinner. And I became such a resilient person from the spaces that I needed to figure out on my own were safe. That I needed to create on my own safety. So when we step into May, and May 1st was MAYDAY. And I was thinking about that this year, putting this Sunday together and thinking, we have these huge balls of experience with just everything in life where it can be the most beautiful thing and then something shifts and it can become something toxic. Or something toxic with a declaration made inside of ourselves can become a beautiful lesson that we don't ever have to repeat. Right? It's this whole ball of stuff. It's whatever we do with what life does with us. I read something a long time ago, and I have taken this in. It's part of the fabric of my being. If you're going through hell, walk as though you own the place. Right? Yeah. Isn't that neat, the way that feels inside? It's like, if you are going through hell, walk like you own the place. There is something to that even just our body posturing, our owning that there is a safety even when things out here don't feel safe, that there is a way to create a sacred space in anything and wherever we are. Sorry, I'm having a wardrobe malfunction as I'm talking to you. Yeah. We can create that sacred space. If you're going through hell, walk like you own the place. Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, co-founders of Unity, Myrtle was terminally ill. They were looking for a way to bring her through it still alive. And they were researching a lot of things, and they had a lot of possible life paths, and they lived in the late 1800s when they were adults. And Unity began in 1888 after Myrtle's healing from terminal tuberculosis. And after prayer groups were started and all sorts of things happened. And they were talking with Charles Fillmore 38 years into Unity. And I love this statement that he said. 38 years ago, Mrs. Fillmore and I began this Unity work. And it was a very small beginning. We had studied various religions, but were not satisfied to accept any of them wholly. Did you know you could do that? I have sometimes when people come to Unity, they're like, oh, I love this Unity, belief system, and I love the things that you say and everything, but I was raised, fill in the blank, whatever it was, and I feel like there's not all of that in Unity. No, there's not. Nothing is all things to all people. You don't have to come here and then shut the door on the rest of your life. I don't know how many people I have counseled here. You like the church of your growth, origin, you like other churches, go. Experience them. Be a part of them and Unity. We are the religion of and. We're not a religion, we are the movement of and. Right? It all belongs. Okay. We said there are so many religions. Let us go ahead for ourselves. Let us do what we think is best and ask God to be with us and lead us and guide us. We began our work in one little room downtown, and it has grown gradually. We've studied many isms, many cults. People of every religion under the sun claim that we either belong to them or we have borrowed the best part of our teaching from them. We have borrowed the best from all religions. That is the reason we are Unity. The name Unity was revealed to us by Spirit. One day in one of our little meetings, I don't think we had more than a dozen in attendance, it was given to me like a flash. Your name is Unity. Then and there, we adopted the name Unity. Now, here's a piece we can all, it's all something we can take something from, but I love this. Before that, we had called ourselves Practical Christians, New Thoughters. In fact, we had called ourselves any old thing. We had just wandered about in the wilderness of isms. When we had adopted a definite name, a plan of work began to unfold, and we saw the great possibilities of Unity. When you firmly move from Mayday to Mayday, things slide into place. When you're not in crisis management mode all the time, you can move from surviving to thriving, right? A lot of the behaviors that we have learned as 7-year-old children sitting in the floor of our bedroom seeking solace in Melissa Manchester, all of those things we learned as survival instincts, they don't feel the same or work the same when we thrive. That's something important to know. When you're moving from crisis mode, when you're moving from survival to thrival energy, some of the things you've done all your life aren't going to work anymore. They're not going to fit anymore. You're going to feel weird doing them, or they're going to feel like they're holding you back. Good! Because that means you're needing a new way of being in your thriving, right? When I sing that song now, I can sing it at the top of my lungs and I can feel it in a different way than when I was 7 sitting on the floor. We were wobbly until the name unity came, and that seemed to be the crystallizing idea in our minds. We found that we could group under the name unity all the different cults and religions that we had thought out and worked out. In this way, we established the fundamentals of the doctrine called unity. So what is it in your life, all these disparate pieces of things that have happened in different places, where do they intersect and come together? Go home and make a Venn diagram today. Where do your circles overlap? And where can you move from surviving into thriving because you have the power to do that? The way that we choose to hold what is happening to us is going to make what happens change, at least inside of us. It's not what's happening, it's what it's doing in here and then what you're choosing to do with it. So, my snowbird flew away last night, and there's been a lot of hectic prep for that to be happening, and there's been movement from relaxation into this kind of intense activity so that he could take off for the next 6 months, and everything would be in place and all that good stuff. And so I had told John a story of, because he had 2 boats in the water. Now, how many of you have ever pulled a boat out of the water? Or been around when someone else did it, right? I don't know about you guys, but my stomach clenches so hard and sits right about here, because when I was also a little kid, I was in the vehicle when the boat was supposed to be pulled out of the water, and they backed the vehicle too far down the tow ramp. And you know that slimy space where there's no traction? I was in the back of the van while it was filling with water. And yeah, so again, I say this because I know all of you, I could feel the visceral going on in the room just then. Yeah. So I shared that story with John, and I said, so I'm happy to help you pull the boats out of the water, and I just want you to know that if I'm not my usual effervescent self, it's because I have a little scar tissue in here from some trauma on boat ramps as a kid. So I showed up at his house in the middle of the week, and the airboat was already out of the water. And I was like secretly going, oh, thank you, God. I don't have to take part in this. I don't have to be strong, right? How many things are we strong for that the whole time you're like, yeah, I don't have to be strong for this. So I was like, yes, one of them's done. So day before, I don't know, one of these past recent days, he said, okay, well, I heard you say the story. Here's another thing, remember, people. When you're telling someone something, what's your agenda? Right, for them to hear you. And sometimes it's for them not to do something or to do something, right? But it really doesn't matter what our agenda is. It matters the way the person hears it and what they do with it. So I shared with John the story of the boat ramp so that if I was a little awkward and a little nervous, he would understand why. Upon receiving it, he heard, I do not want to take a boat out of the water with you. Okay? I never said that, okay? It wasn't even what I meant, okay? And remember, we're all in human skins with our baggage and with what we came up through, and we receive what we receive. So what he was received is, you better figure out how to get the boat out of the water without me doing it. That wasn't what I meant. So he said, look, I'm pulling the other boat out of the water. I was working on another project at his house. I'm going to go pull the boat out of the water. I'll be back in a few minutes. I just need you I'm going to drive it around, and then you drive me to the boat ramp, and then I'll bring the boat out. I'm like, okay, cool, no problem. And I drive him around, and I drive back, and I'm waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and getting a little nervous and wondering if I should drive over and waiting. And isn't that what we do in that in-between time in life, right? Something hands us something that we're feeling awkward with already, and instead of, Trish, I can't speak for any of you, instead of going into that space of, I'm breathing, I'm knowing this is going to work out whatever it is, and I'm going to move on with my space, I sit in this keyed up silence, filling in the blanks with worst case scenarios, right? Let's watch it when we do that. So as I sat filling the blanks in with worst case scenarios, I hear the van coming. Beep, 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 beep. Terrified look on John's face, and he's like, I need you to get in the van, get a flashlight, I got to get a come along, grab that come along there, and grab the, come on, let's go. Just what I didn't want to be a part of. Right? Welcome, life. This is how it shows up. The minute, I don't know about you guys, the minute I set myself up for I don't ever want to do this again, and I'm going to do everything in my life so that I don't have to, life goes, noted. We need to do that again so you can get over it. So I'm like, okay, what else do I need? He's like, okay, so the wire that holds the boat to the trailer snapped, the boat was free, and I've got the boat halfway on the trailer, but I've got to get the come along because it's just teetering, and so we're gonna back it down, what came from that was about an hour of work with pulling the boat up with a come along until the trailer tipped and pull out. It was fairly interesting. And I had said to him when he told me, I'm not going to have you help me bring the boat out because I heard your story and I don't want you to have to go through that. We actually ended up giggling at the front of the boat. Once we realized the boat wasn't going to be gone and the trailer wasn't going to be gone and all of that, once we got to this place of stability, I turned around and there was this gorgeous full moon sitting there. And I said, oh my gosh, just take a second. Just take a second. So let's just look at the moon for a minute. Isn't it gorgeous? And it was beautiful temperature, and the boat was secure, and there was that moment where I could sit in that space of, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. From Mayday to Mayday, right? To this celebration. There's been a lot of different reasons we do Mayday. One of them was because of a workers' strike that led to 8-hour days. The 8-hour movement, 1884 to 1886, coincidentally, which is when unity was getting its grounding. In 1884, the Federation of Organized Trades and Labor Unions, later which is the AFL, resolved that 8 hours should constitute a legal day's work from May 1st of 1886. This call prompted nationwide strikes with around 500,000 workers involved by May 1st. They were chanting 8 hours for work, 8 hours for rest, 8 hours for what we will. Right? Kind of a nice, nifty way to do it. And then on May 3rd in 1886, the police attacked striking workers at the McCormick Reaper plant in Chicago, and they killed several people. We call it the Haymarket Affair. The following day, May 4th, a bomb exploded during a protest at Haymarket Square, leading to a violent clash and the death of police officers and civilians. What do we do when we're feeling Mayday? How do we show up to affect change? How do we try to shift things in our lives? And how do we react to it when other people do? There's such an invitation in everything that happens. You know, the whole Mayday itself, that term that we use, Mayday, 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 they're supposed to say it 3 times. That was originated in 1923 by Frederick Mockford. He was a senior radio officer at Croydon Airport in London. And they asked him to create something that was a clear, universally understood emergency term. It is the phonetic English equivalent of the French phrase MAYDAY, meaning help me or come help me. So what do we do with people in our lives when we're feeling in inner turmoil and we want them to know that we need a little help or a little patience or a little time or a little pause? What can we create in our lives that is universally understood by those in our sphere to say, I need help? Help me. One that doesn't promote rioting, or that doesn't alienate people, or that doesn't make someone else feel that they're wrong. And how do we create a world where when we tell someone a story about how something happened and we were afraid of it, they don't hear, I can't face it? How can we create a world in which we are so grounded? Now, you're not responsible for what anyone else hears. We can't change what someone takes from what we say. So let's get clear in here. When we're crying, Mayday, Mayday, how do we remember that God is in it all, that universal power and presence resides and begins within, and that we get to move from Mayday to walking through hell like we own the place, to transforming and transmuting hell into a lesson that we are able to stand in the middle of and go, wow, look at the moon. Isn't it beautiful? And so it is.
Thank you for joining us today. Please visit www.unityofsebring.org for more information, to submit a prayer request, or to donate to our ministry. We hope to see you again very soon.